Here we are with campaign number 2. I had so much fun doing my Nyx run that I decided to do it again. Who knows, maybe this will just become the Baldur's Gate 3 channel, and I'm okay with that. At least until we get Dreadwolf in 12 years, who knows. Anyways, all the mods I'll be using to create the character today and throughout her playthrough are listed in the description of this video. Thank you for those of you who voted for which character you wanted to see next. I was honestly hoping you'd pick her because I really enjoyed writing her backstory, and I'm also super excited about a will romance. So yeah, love y'all for that. Speaking of backstory, even though I know the old alignment system is flawed, I did want to challenge myself this time by creating a lawfully good character who is also a dark urge. Nyx, my prior dirge, whose campaign you can check out on my channel, started out more chaotic evil and ended up more neutral good by the end of the playthrough, but this one's going to be good all the way through. I do know that can sometimes make for a one-note character though, so I did try to dig deeply into the lore, as I always do, to try to create something original. So here's what I've got. Her name is Glory. I'll tell you a bit more about why here shortly, but when she was an infant, she was left on the doorstep of a farmstead in Orlane, which is the site of a pretty famous Dungeons & Dragons module called Against the Cult of the Reptile God. Actually got a little obsessive and went back into that module to find that one of the NPCs was called Alan Claiborne, who owned a humble yet prosperous farm, and his house is described as having 2 children playing outside, so I'm gonna go ahead and say one of them was Glow. So she is adopted into this loving family, living a happy life. When she comes of age, she decides to head to Baldur's Gate to join the renowned Flaming Fist, and that is when she is intercepted by Gortash, who turns her over to Ball, which was his plan all along. So cue the Ball-spawn dream possession, and now we have a very lawfully good character who, unbeknownst to herself or her family, is actually a fiend who's been murdering people in her sleep. Yikes. So anyway, she will be a dark urge. I don't think you need to play a dirge to make an interesting character, but it does add content, conversations with companions. Yeah. She'll also be a tiefling. I got this really awesome mod that adds these new kinds, but I'm going with variant. Super creative, but that's just because she doesn't know her background. I will add some radiant abilities though, because I've headcanoned that the Claiborne family are Lathander worshippers, who's the god of the morning sun, by the way. So yeah, imagine going out to feed the goats and finding this little horned babe with glowing eyes and radiant abilities. The Claibornes probably thought she was some gift from their god. Little did they know. So she's going to be a paladin. Her adoptive parents are former adventurers, so she's instilled with this adventurer spirit, plus the Lathander tenets of hope and new beginnings. I just think she'd be a good candidate for a justice-driven kind of paladin. And I think Oath of Ancients, the balance of light and dark and nature, makes sense for that too. I will just quickly add a religion proficiency, but then we can check out the voices.
What?
What was that? Hells. Something just woke up down here.
I think that works, though I am planning on using something close to my original speaking voice and my accent for the dialogue performance this time. It was maybe not the best move to try out a British accent for the first time and drop my voice to a lower register with the Nyx playthrough. It definitely took me a while to find my footing and was pretty shaky at times, so thanks for putting up with that. But for Glory, I think this fits. I mean, I am from Ohio. Don't know if you could tell that by the way that I talk, but a Midwestern American accent just makes sense for a farm girl, I think. Hopefully that doesn't get too distracting when the character voice lines won't match the accent I'm reading with, but I did experiment with this setting to decrease their frequency, and it turns them down for every character. The companions too, so I'm just going to stick with this voice, and I'll leave it to one of you lovely listeners to tell me if I am way off base. Now I'm looking for a skin tone in the orangish color family for this gorgeous face. Again, check the link in the description if you want to get the mod. I liked the sulfur colors, but why use a base game color when we have these great modded colors? I'm not really into the super bright neon ones, it's just not really the vibe I'm going for, but I'd like something kind of halfway in between the human skin tones and the more fantasy skin tones, so I think I like this. And I'll add some freckles, just like she's been out in the sun. For the scar pattern, I also loaded in a new pattern, which you actually can't really see because her hair's in the way. So let's jump down to hair. But I liked it because it looks kind of fresh, like she's recovering from an injury, which we know that she is. A head wound, to be exact. And I think I'm going to go with this hairstyle. It's kind of messy, which makes sense. Like, who's jumping out of a Mind Flayer pod with their hair looking immaculate? Probably not many people, but I still think it's pretty. And for the color, I'm thinking we're going to stick with rich, warm colors. So orange, reds, yellows. I really like this oxblood color because it's reddish purple, and I think that works. Actually, while I'm cycling through all of these hair colors, now might be a good time to talk about her name. So when I had initially created the character, I had called her Dawn, D-A-W-N, which I thought was pretty on point for the child of Lothendarians, but the word Dawn is used so often in the game. There are already so many Lathander references in game, which, by the way, I actually might end up multi-classing her with Cleric of Lathander just because I want to see what unique dialogue there is for that. I definitely won't add too many levels if I do, though, since I do want to play around with the Paladin abilities. But yeah, Alfira's song is called The Weeping Dawn. Multiple characters say the line, "Dawn comes soon enough." Like, it's everywhere, and I started to feel like I was getting hit over the head with it when I was finishing up Nyx's playthrough. Plus, in doing my research, I discovered a little bit of information about one of the possible endings of a romance with Will that is associated with a flower name. And I won't spoil that here, though. You'll just have to follow along till the end if you don't already know. But because of that, I thought it would be cute to pick a flower name for this character, and what flower might be associated with the dawn? Morning glories. So now we have the name Glory, Glow for short, which I also like because, you know, sunshine, radiance, glow, all that. So yeah, I just think it fits. Okay, I think I like this hair, and we've moved on to piercings now, which I actually don't think I'm going to put any on her face, but we will add some gold earrings. And there are some that are slightly altered from the base game earrings that look kind of like suns, so I'll go with that. I also have a mod here with earrings that actually are the Lathander symbol, but again, I don't want to overdo it. I know I can sometimes have a heavy hand with that. So yeah, I like these. I think they look kind of like suns, you know? And for eye makeup, we'll go... I'm, again, trying to remind myself to practice restraint here, and we'll go with something somewhat subtle, maybe in some brown tones. I know that I'm talking about my last character a lot, but I can't help it. I just love them. But in my last playthrough with Nyx, they were non-binary, so I tried to play around with androgynous looks as well as more traditionally masculine and feminine looks for their hair and clothes, but I honestly ended up going mostly feminine, partially because I just liked how it looked, but also with their clothes, I was trying to keep them out of armor since they were a monk and they got an unarmored defense bonus. With Glory, I'm excited to play around with the look because while she probably won't be overly glamorous or fussy since she has these humble roots, I think she will be quite feminine with makeup and hair, and I also want to put her in some tricked out heavy armor. So yeah, I like the idea of that kind of juxtaposition. And I just realized that I never went back and changed her eyes. So that is essential. Let's do that. I know that I want to go with dark sclera. Obviously there are tieflings in the game without it, Karlach, Dammon, but most tieflings do have black sclera and some have more glowing eyes than others. I like a lot of these, but there was one that really struck me because the glow is intense. And the sclera is actually dark red, which I like because it's this happy medium where it's unique, but not too far from the norm. Yeah, there it is. Love that. It's so bright. And now we just have horns left. I have 3 different horn mods right now because I couldn't decide which one I liked the most. I just know I want something that is unique and helps Glory to stand out from the NPCs, but that isn't too extravagant and impractical. These are neat. They light up, but I also get distracted very easily, so this is maybe not the move this time. Oh, I like that. That gold inlay is perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. So for the color, we'll go with something that is neutral. Most of the tieflings in the game have brown, black, gray horns, so we'll go with something in that family. Maybe something brighter at the tip, but that is something, by the way, I do know I have a bit of, well, it's not a problem, it's a preference, just my personal play style, but I do like things to fit that general pattern. Like, I do know a good bit about D&D, and I like to do my research, and just in general, I like to be immersed in the world of the game. So when I talk about my character fitting those race, class, whatever patterns without straying too far, it's just because I like those puzzle pieces to fit together. Like, I would never get a mod that removes a tiefling's tail or the ridges on their skin or their horns for the same reason that I wouldn't make a human with dark sclera or an elf with a beard. Like, I'm not trying to gatekeep anyone else's character. That's the beauty of the character creation. We all get to create who we want. It's also just not the posy way for me to criticize other people's gameplay. But for me, yeah, I like things to fit those kind of patterns, you know? Which is why I can sometimes toil over a choice for longer than is necessary and try to find a motivation for every decision. But hey, that is the posy way. So here we are. And I'm just getting rid of a little bit of the metallic on the makeup. And I think we're good. For the Guardian, I actually am going to step outside of the box just a little bit. I got this idea, I don't know how novel it is, but I got this idea to create Lathander, because who is more influential than a god? So we're going to go big with it. I am going to jump to the end of the character creation so you can see the final result. Here he is, wearing his own merch, as the gods seem to do, and we've got the sunshine eyes, looking pretty extreme, but why not? So that is about it for episode 0. I'm so ready to dive into this new playthrough. I'm going to let the Nautiloid sequence play because it's just that amazing, and Gloria and I will see you on the other side for episode 1.